Hello everybody, it's Max with Crypto Talk now. Jasmy came out with a new in-depth 2023 roadmap. So without further ado, let's go ahead and jump right into that. And then following up that particular segment, we will get into the Jasmy grant program, which apparently has existed, of course, since 2016. But if anything, they have updated their website to reflect some new particular things that they want to outline for the grant program. So let's go ahead and get into it. And as we can see right here, this comes straight from their Medium. And I went ahead and, of course, blew it up as much as I could for you guys. And it's just like it mentions right here. They announced Jasmy 2023 roadmap at the beginning of this month, and it received, of course, incredible positive feedback, and rightfully so, right? On top of that, some of their friends created various content to express their analysis and opinions. They, of course, sincerely appreciate the work. Jasmy, of course, moves forward. They would like to provide us with more in-depth information in regards to those specific plans. So let's take a moment to reflect on this particular roadmap. As you can see right here, it mentions the fan token. If you haven't seen the particular deep dive I did in regards to the fan token, by all means, look more into it. It gives you a broader perspective and understanding, if you will, when it comes to understanding different levels, or I should say multiple levels of Jasmy's utility, right? A lot of people think that it only has one utility with the data locker and so on. They actually have a little bit more than just that. So if you haven't seen that, highly recommend it. But check it out. It states in Q1, fan token update content and develop platform. Really saw some of this. They released, of course, Secure PC in English version, integrated, of course, with Avita's function. They had a PDL to develop an AI engine. Of course, we did a deep dive in regards to that. And then, of course, the community launch of the Jasmy grant. And towards the end of the video, we'll definitely show you that. Now, let's take a look at Q2 2023. And let's face it, that's coming up here soon within the next month or so. So that fan token states it's going to organize Appreciation Day event and implement in-app purchase function. Again, if you're not aware of what some of this is, take a look into that and so on. There's a particular fan-based token that they made. And of course, if you're already familiar with Chiliz, it's a very similar, but of course it's not as broad as Chiliz. But you like the idea that, Jasmy has multiple layers of utility. That's the key thing here. All right, on top of that, you see this that states PF development to decide carbon credit consortium specifications. And, if you're completely new to this whole thing about carbon credits, it's a real thing. You know what I mean? On top of that, Richard Common Sense Crypto, right? He talks about a lot of the whole thing with carbon credits. You hear, for instance, Hedera even mentions about the whole thing of carbon credits. Algorand mentions it. And what do those stand out with? Think about it. Green blockchains. I know Hedera's, hash graph, but the whole thing is the concept of what is green, and on top of that, what is more, I guess you could say, quote unquote, better for the environment, doesn't use as much energy and so on. Whether you agree with that or not, or you're a proponent of it and so on, it's a real thing. All right, going into 2023's Q4, as you can see right here, it says develop a Jasmy coin investment function. And if anything, that is going to be interesting itself. I tried to find more info in regards to that, but I'm sure when we approach that, we'll get more info. Of course, there's start data value exchange, develop carbon credit consortium, and that's pretty consistent across the board. It's not just Jasmy. Other particular blockchain projects, like I mentioned, are going to be focusing a lot on that. And if you don't understand basically what that is, like me, my dream is to, own a few classic cars, right? Like I want a 1950 Mercury. I actually want the classic 1964, Chevy Impala convertible. I also want, like a 1960 Impala. I'm a big fan of old school Impalas. But if anything, in the future, right, after, let's face it, take some profits in the future, just like a lot of us and so on. My thing is, I definitely want to have a few of those classic vehicles. Well, those vintage vehicles will require, apparently in the future, some sort of carbon credit in order to drive them in such a new green world. I know, I get it. Some people are not exactly fans of it, but let's face it, it is a reality. Now, you like the idea that they are addressing that and so on. So they mentioned some of these specific things, but let's get into the nitty gritty about some of what was listed on their particular site. Again, on this particular update, this was listed probably about 4 days ago or so. But look what it says right here. First, they are expanding the reach of their secure PC product, which is already utilized by many national companies as a B2B service. They are preparing release of an English version and ramping up the production of blockchain embedded PCs for the Asian market with plans for end user license agreements in key regions, including Taiwan, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Singapore, India, and more. If anything, a lot of these key areas that we're mentioning, especially Singapore, are very, very crypto friendly. You do like to see that. On top of that, when we go further down, it says, in addition, they are thrilled, they're thrilled to announce their plans for the Fan Token app. We gave you, of course, a brief preview in regards to that, but I like the idea that maybe, we can even test it out for our own use if you're interested in that, especially if you're a Jasmy fan, right? That's going to allow allow users to utilize their data in fun and engaging ways with organized rights management in place. They're eager to add even more unique and attractive content, as well as plans for developing an original wallet and collaborating with Web3 platforms. Now, I want to take a moment to reflect on this whole thing. So if you have been following Crypto Talk Now for a while, we cover various different Web3 wallets, right? And it's real key. If you've been, for instance, following XDC, they came out with a new, Web3 wallet, if you will, the quote-unquote MetaMask killer, right? I like the idea of seeing Jasmy bring something to that whole mix, because that is powerful in itself. If you provide more and more options for, let's face it, decentralized finance and so on, that definitely helps. It's a huge catalyst, right? So I like hearing that specifically. I want to see more information in regards to that. And as soon as they break that out, I definitely will bring it to you guys. On top of that, it says, in the near future, our users will be able to use the points that they earn in the app to make purchases on other platforms. How cool is that? You want to see it be more transparent. All right. They're excited to tackle the challenging and impactful carbon credit market. Again, this is something that's going to get brought up quite a bit, right? With their blockchain technology, with Jasmy playing a crucial role in the consortium through its proprietary technology. Excuse me. I have a hard time pronouncing certain things today. Allergies are kicking my butt. So, furthermore, our AI engine continues to develop, and Jasmy is building a system in partnership with travel agencies to analyze user data and reward them accordingly. Of course, right? Data democratization. I did a deep dive for you guys in regards to that. If you haven't checked that out, check out that particular video. It'll give you a broader perspective, especially if you're invested in Jasmy. Why wouldn't you want to learn more about it, right? So let's talk about that for just a brief moment. So in regards to that specific AI engine, that is going to continue to help Jasmy build a system in partnership with travel agencies. Earlier today, we came out with a particular update in regards to Travala.com. And if you're familiar with Travala.com, especially in the United States, you know that you could book flights, you could book vacations, you could do all sorts of things on there, right? It was a new key partnership. So again, Jasmy, it's just, really, really starting to build. So for all the fudders out there to say, you know what, there's nothing going on here and so on, within the last month, right, we have seen a bunch of new partnerships, and we have even confirmed them, right? So people, of course, stated the whole thing with Sony wasn't a real thing. Again, it's a subsidiary, right? It's a cashy. On top of that, the whole thing with Toyota, right? Again, it's a subsidiary, right? So again, we connected the dots, we squashed the FUD. But look at this. It says, finally, we are proud to introduce the Jasmy grant. And of course, we're going to get into that here in just a bit. Now, if you're wondering about that, it's a funding program led by Jasmy to support ideas and initiatives from the community. How cool is that, right? Recognizing the community, come up with great ideas, but legitimate ideas to help the ecosystem. And if you're already familiar with other blockchain projects, such as, for instance, Cardano's vast ecosystem, you can even throw in Luna Classic if you're part of that, right? But the key thing is this: ecosystems that thrive, that will help the native coin or native token of that particular blockchain. If you have Jasmy building an ecosystem, that is tremendous in itself. It creates what? It creates more volume. And if you could find a key one to join that ecosystem, wow, watch out. Perfect example as of recently, look at Singularity Net, right? AGIX, one of the standout ones, and we've been covering this for many, many months since last summer. The standout ones when it comes to the Cardano ecosystem, right? That went from 4 cents, well past, I believe, 45, maybe 50 cents higher. I have to double check some of the new all-time highs. But that's all Jasmy needs. They need to have a few developers come over to this space and build on Jasmy. And that's one of the key things. I love that they're putting this in place. It creates what? Incentive. You give enough incentives, make it easier for people to build on your particular platform. It's a win-win, especially for us who hold Jasmy, right? So let's go further down to this. It says, thank you for your continued support, Jasmy, and our mission to drive innovation in the Web3 space. Now, let's go ahead and get into this next part. And of course, this next part is just kind of reiterating what you basically saw from there, but officially from Bit Times. And of course, they interpret it, in Japanese and so on. I just want to give you guys a heads up that, this is a different outlet that kind of reiterates the same thing that we mentioned, just kind of in a different format. I literally covered everything you see right here. Like some of this right here, according to a tweet posted on February 2nd by Mr. Hiroshi Harada, CFO of Jasmy Corporation. Secure PCs are already being used by dozens of domestic companies as a B2B service. It is explained that they're preparing for the release of English. Again, it's just some of what I basically mentioned. I wanted to kind of reiterate that it wasn't just one particular site that you saw this. And of course, I'm not trying to give any fuel at all for the flooders. Now, I want to point this out, and shout out this particular person, Grabs by Gordy. Links us, of course, to jasmygrants.org. Of course, I already saw that earlier, but I like some of the particular statements, and that's why I'm reading it. So he states, can we talk more about Jasmy grants? Well, that's basically what we're doing, right? But the key thing is here, understanding, the dates, right? So February 22nd, last I checked, let's see, I'm looking at my phone, it's February 26th. That's only 4 days away. So it's still pretty new, pretty fresh for the most part, right? And of course, we covered the whole thing with the roadmap. But check this out. It says, Jasmy Grant provides funding for projects that benefit Jasmy and its ecosystem. Well, it's a no-brainer, right? It says Jasmy is looking, of course, for development teams and researchers to build Jasmy-based applications, kind of like reiterating what I just mentioned with the whole, ecosystem and so on, right? It gives you an idea, how that's done from the Jasmy site. Jasmy Grant, a Jasmy-led funding program to fund ideas submitted by the Jasmy community with a focus on supporting the development network, derivative projects, community builders, and others that contribute to what? The Jasmy ecosystem. So let's go over to that. And of course, this is, the other one on the previous tab was basically like the same screenshot you see here. So I'm just going to go further down into this. So it states the Jasmy grant provides funding for projects that benefit, of course, the ecosystem of Jasmy. They are looking for development teams, researchers to build Jasmy-based applications. Those who want to apply for the grant will need to fill out a questionnaire to provide project-related information. You know, it's kind of like a given. But on top of that, you know, you can simply go there if you wanted to apply for it. They're committed, of course, like it says, to accelerating the use of Jasmy in crypto. And that's the key thing. You want to see not just one specific use case, right, with data democratization, but you want to see multiple layers of utility. If you have other projects building on it, then that opens up tremendous growth. You know, again, like I mentioned, like the singularity net example, like with Cardano, right? As we know, Cardano, like if you're a fan of it and so on, I hold Cardano. I know this might seem like apples and oranges, but it's a particular example. I always tell people, you know, Cardano is a great long-term project, but people get very, very impatient with that. But I've always stated that Singularity Net AGIX is a standout one. What if we get one again for Jasmy that ends up being a standout one? How huge that could be, not only for that particular project, right? Especially if it ended up being a low market cap and it boomed, but of course for the Jasmy ecosystem. So it says the fund will be provided by Jasmy Foundation distributed to projects following the decision of users via a decentralized voting mechanism. Jasmy grant funders encourage projects and teams from all over the world, right, not just Japan, to build decentralized apps or provide services for advancing the Jasmy ecosystem. I apologize. My nose is itchy and I have allergy problems as of lately. Always happens around this time of year. So it says, what's eligible for grant funding? And as you can see here, there's a few particular ones. The development and improvement of Jasmy protocol, Jasmy ecological applications, Jasmy-based developer tools, and of course, a DAO organization for the Jasmy ecology, if you're into those types of things. They have specific grant rules you can follow and so on. And of course, it's just an easy breakdown. It lets people know how you can apply, how you can enter the grant pool. Is KYC required? Let's see if it is. It says, yes, projects entering the grant pool need to undergo KYC. Should my project be open source? Yes, all granted projects should be open source projects that benefit the Jasmy ecosystem. I mean, it's kind of like a no-brainer, but how about this one? You know, if you're wondering about this, maybe you're, you know, like a dev, you never know. How does the grant pool run? Let's expand that. So projects in the grant pool will be voted on using Jasmy Coin, and the top 10 projects with the highest votes will divide the grants based on their votes and related weights. Seems pretty simple to the point. That, you know, that's reasonable, right? You want to know more about this, of course, they have official documents. You can go to their Twitter, they have Discord and so on. But you know, I just thought that was super cool to see that. And if anything, I'm glad to be able to bring it to you guys. I thought this was an important update, and if anything, we'll continue to follow what's going on with Jasmy. I happen to see some other particular Jasmy updates, but I'm going to make a separate video for those because it's kind of off topic from the roadmap and also the grants project and so on. So hit that like if you haven't done so already, and if you appreciate our particular Jasmy updates and whatnot, as well as some of the other coverage that we provide here at Crypto Talk Now, by all means, hit that bell notification and, of course, subscribe. If you enjoy Jasmy coverage, or again, some of the other ones, we happen to have a live show each and every single day of the week. It is at 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific for Crypto Talk Now. Last but not least, if you didn't know already, head on over to ctnnetwork.net. I'll say it again, ctnnetwork.net, and we have our brand new website. Yes, I can show it on the screen and so on, but if anything, I want you to see it firsthand. So there's some really nice benefits to it and so on. We help other various creators from the community. We have forums. We have, it just looks really, really cool. Shout out to Larry and another member of our staff who helped put this together. I'm really excited about it and so on. And if anything, check out some of our other live shows. Of course, we have Utility Talk Now on Mondays. That's myself and the Crypto Smith. Again, same time slot, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. And I am very, very close to introducing a new game that will be featured on Crypto Talk Now. It's referred to as Cryptivia, and it's a crypto-related game that we share with the community. You'll actually be able to use your phone and interact on the live show and participate, and it will keep track of your points. You can be put on certain teams and so on. It's going to be a really, really cool, fun thing. I'm really excited to be able to share it. Hopefully I can get that done by Wednesday, unless I, of course, get interrupted if my dad has to come home from the hospital at a particular day or so on. But nonetheless, guys, I know that was a long outro. Thanks again for watching today's video. May you all have a blessed day. We'll see you on the next one.